videos throughout the whole year. It's the one time a year we go out to train and we put out a video. Yeah.
Okay, we should be
Your 2020
back up.
compilation is just that one day in March or April.
Yep. Yep. That's what it was.
We should be back up.
I don't know. Seth right now is debating whether to do parkour or skating. And
What is it with
that's
Seth?
a
Because
big-
I've heard he's not actually that into parkour anymore. He's more into skateboarding and such.
yeah, no, he's not. I keep trying to get him back into it, but like, it's just when he was super good, he was living at Apex basically, going homeschooling at Apex every day, and then he just kind of grew away from that.
That's fair enough. Okay, cool. So we're just going to wait for people to come sort of join back in. Again, thank you guys for coming back, because I don't know why it crashed on me, because Streamlabs is supposed to be the best software for streaming, apparently. Apparently it's not.
False.
We are learning otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. This is twice has happened to me.
Alright.
So,
Marcus,
yeah.
maybe you shouldn't say that. Say that at the end of the stream. Maybe that's why they cut us off.
that's it. Yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh yeah, buddy."
Let's start this one by saying, actually, despite the problems, Streamlab are really, really
Oh,
good.
yeah. Amazing product. Just the best streaming software. Everyone should use it. Okay, so we got some people back in here. So let's go straight back into Sun Def. And let's get going. So we got versus Mark. So how tense was this for you guys so far?
This was crazy for us because we were like, "Oh my God, wait, we're not out yet." And then, like I said, this is what we're like, "All right, who's good, really good at evasion?" Actually, when this happened, Tavon was screaming from the stands. He was like, "Put the short guy in!"
Oh my God.
It was honestly a movie moment. Like,
Yeah,
I can't get over Mark's routes.
oh, like that, you know?
Yeah, underrated thing. Mark's routes here, even though they weren't very fast, like mental. The fact that you managed to just dive under the ridge is crazy.
Yeah.
Dive QM. He was just like, I'm gonna keep QMing through the
He
ridge.
really went for it, man.
damn.
And here, boom, boom. I'm back.
I've tried to recreate that. I've got a part that's got a similar setup, just one bar, and I can't get myself to dive through it. Like, just a little bit.
The heat of the moment. Yeah, so at this point, Sean was the one who he was like, "I'm going in. I'm going in."
Yeah, he looked at us. He's like, "I'm doing it."
No way.
And
You can see it in his eyes.
himself.
Yeah, Sean volunteered himself. He was like, "Put me in, I can do it. Like, put me in, coach. I can do this. I want to do this." We're like, "Okay, go ahead, dude."
Dude, this was
QM
such
under
an
the
intense
sisters
moment
as
right here.
This was so brutal. Watching, standing on that stage, right there, dude. We lost it. We
We were so happy, dude.
Look at this. I love that moment so much, though. The celebration from you guys like really speaks about like how passionate you are for it. So
Yeah,
cool.
and like I said, we knew we weren't going further, but we were just hyped because it was like, you know, it's the heat of the moment, being in it, the experience, like everything was so surreal.
Yeah, let's go back. I just want to see that one more time because it was great.
So, fun strategy fact. We were, I think the day before the comp, we were all trying to strategize. And Wenson wanted to be on as an evader whenever it came to like sudden death possibilities because he thinks that that's his better kind of threshold as opposed to chasing. Like he was like, I can run, so he's chasing me.
And really, like Sean did great there. Winston, if he had juked instead of going under the sisters, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if Sean would have got like at the very end. Like
No,
Sean earned the tag. I'm not taking that away from Sean. He earned that tag. But like right here, if he had cut back,
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, I don't think he would have gotten him at that point.
Yeah, no,
But Wengson should have just stayed there for longer, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
he would have stayed there.
Just
If he would have stayed there, Sean wouldn't have got him.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you can see when
I
Sean
hate that spot though.
Winston start to go, and Sean noticed that, and that's what he was like.
But the whole, like, you guys just said, like, what if Winston just stayed there? It's easy to say that now, but in that moment, his brain is just like, do everything now. You know what I mean? Like, it's there.
Yeah, dude.
You
I
know?
honestly think that corner is like the last place you ever want to idle, and it's a mistake that I made, and like I feel like so many of our team made. Most of the time, we got tagged in that corner. It looks like it's a high EQ space. It is so low EQ, and you do not want to stay there at all.
That was one of my favorite places, honestly.
Really?
Look, we tried to make it high EQ, but actually, a lot of people have said it's deceptively low.
That's the best way to put it.
Oh, the man, the myth,
Amos.
the
Yeah, let's
legend.
get into this. So
Amos
this is
Rendao.
the final match. So we got Apex
This is what
versus
everyone wants to
THC.
watch.
I finally get to see Amos on the quad.
Yeah. So there was loads of comments of people saying,
it's
when
like
are we going to
all
see
evening.
Amos? When are we going to see Amos? So I love that this is how you start it as well.
What's the boss about?
Yeah. we kept him in reserve.
Damn.
I actually
Like,
thought
that was a quick recovery too.
That
I
does.
Like out of the dive.
I thought I made that up in my head.
That gentle tap on the ankle. Like, I'm just gonna. I
It
don't
wasn't
wanna
until
mess
you
it up.
rewatched it that you realized you did it.
Well, I thought that maybe I had dove through the bars and landed on my feet, but it sounded kind of absurd, so I thought I made it up because I was kind of like black out on that run. So I was actually glad to see that I did it.
Dino
This is-
says
Dude, look at
petition
those
to make blind
wheels.
start mandatory.
What was that?
If
So, one of the comments, someone was saying petition to make blind start mandatory.
Oh, yeah.
That's
If,
insane.
if you want to go back here, I can explain why I'm jumping like a derp, like a complete schlub. So yeah, right here, stop there. But when I get to the first side of the mountain, I don't know if I could see Elijah, but I just felt his presence. And so I thought he was going to be jumping up to grab my feet. So I was just trying to get my feet high and out of the way.
Oh,
And right here, I'm
Okay.
doing such odd things that I can just hear Elijah. This is the only thing I remember almost from this match. I just hear Elijah's voice, and he's like, "What the fuck?" But
I could imagine that. You
yeah,
don't want to wipe your feet either, and like kill his coach.
I think I even laughed during the match when I heard him say that.
That's funny. Dino is saying, so
'Cause he
neither
was so
of you can
confused.
see each other.
Yeah, it's true.
like a ballerina.
That's great.
Yeah, Amos, you turn around, you see him, you're like, shit, we gotta go.
That's got a lot of gift potential. That was
Point.
Yeah.
Right there.
You're like, oh, okay.
Oh no! Please don't put me into cement me into history as a gift like that. Oh, I love this dance.
I love
Yeah.
that.
He's such a little dancer.
That guy.
So I have a question for the athletes, right? There's loads of you that are dancing. Obviously, there's music going on. Is it just a way to like stay calm before the chase, or is you just like messing around?
I just like to dance.
Honestly, I think it's just like,
Amos?
it gets you in the zone.
Both.
There's something really weird happened, like to Apex as a team. Like when you did your first introduction onto the stage, because at first you walked on slowly, and then you kind of all stood there. But then Amos started dancing, and then in the space of about 10 seconds, everyone just started dancing, and then from then on, you all just danced throughout the whole competition. It was really weird.
Well, yeah, no, I
Amos's
can speak for
plan
this one.
was we
Amos
should all
goes,
walk
okay,
out.
Okay.
We're gonna walk up, we're gonna look like badasses, we're gonna stand up there, and we're not gonna move. And we're like, okay, Amos, you're the captain, you're the coach, we listen to you. We all do it. He's the one that ends up starts to dance. I'm like, Amos,
I couldn't help
what's your
it.
plan?
I couldn't help it. Eventually, the music just got in my veins.
You all,
Psychological.
you're all doing the most crazy dancing. After about 5 or 10 seconds, it suddenly broke from badass standstill, blank
Yeah.
faces, to all of you doing these crazy dances.
Also, if you have a clip of that dance, Seth Wang made me cry laughing with how he was dancing. I don't even understand how he was dancing like that.
You taught us that dance.
Well, I taught you something very different.
3 years ago in class.
Yeah, he made it his own. Nice, Olaf. Coming in with the first point.
So, for people who've watched the team profiles, they'll know the THC are students, right, of Apex School of Movement.
There's a big echo, just so you guys know.
Yeah,
Kind of hard to talk.
Yeah, sorry. So, like I was just saying, the THC are actually students of Apex School of Movement, right?
Yeah, a few of those guys. So Casey Wilson, Elijah, Alex Paulus moved to Colorado later. Dante and Ross used to do Colorado Springs Apex. And then Kian's also a student from Apex Boulder. So yeah, we know all these guys. This was such a fun match because we have so much history with them, and we were having a good time.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, Apex School of Movement's massive gym, parkour gym out in America, where you can take classes for parkour. So if you want to get into chase tag and you want to learn parkour, and you're within the area, Apex is pretty decent. I wish we had something like that in the UK, man.
Even if you're not.
Could I just rewind that chase to chase 7?
Yeah,
chase
of course.
7?
Chase.
And the reason why I've got that is because I had a sort of discussion question around chase 7, and that is we'd sort of touched on it a little bit before, but over or under the sisters? Like Mark was saying that he was surprised he was going under. Interestingly, Frank often takes over, and here was an interesting one where one guy goes under, one guy goes over. It looks like the over seems to gain ground, but I just thought, does anyone have any comments over or under the sisters?
I've got some comments.
I think it's about.
Got some comments.
I think it's height. I think it's like he's just so tall that it's easy for him to just immediately his double Kong, his legs are in the ball the whole way. He doesn't even have to extend at all. It's easy for him. So I think it's mostly it's height oriented.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
I've seen Rob go into the sisters.
I'll say I think
I went under sisters.
I think part of it is also how you're going about it, because it might be if you're approaching it and your steps aren't right to go over, you might go under. Like I liked going under just because I felt like I was going quickly, but also it's easier to change direction. Like there was the one in flow where I start to go under and come back, and that's hard to do going over. In general, I do think going over is a little faster, but you also have to make sure you're footing for that, because if your jump is off, we can cut back to the group A with Kyle and Seth, where they both wipe out on the sisters going over. It's a higher risk move, I think. Not super high risk, but higher than going under.
Yeah. So
I
Richard
think also-
Thompson. Sorry, just real quick.
Okay.
Richard Thompson from UGen, he's in chat. He says big people over, small people under. So again, it's about height.
Well, if you look at
I went
Frank,
under.
yeah, and I also think if you look at Frank, the way he used it, it's not just about height, because it allows you to cut that corner, and Frank gunned people down by cutting the corner going towards the tilted cube over the sisters, and would just stride down and descend on people. So it also opens up the corner cut there, and I think that's a huge, big strategy for that.
Yeah, Frank, I need you to teach me that cut. I need to use that.
Yeah, and just real quick for anybody, Omar is saying, is there Group E? How does the tournament work? So this is the final group stage, and now we're going into playoffs after this. So from now on, if you lose, that's it. You're out.
Playoffs are fun.
But can I just say about the big people and small people over and under? Like sometimes taller people do things that you don't expect. And Richard Thompson from UGen, one of the things that he did, he Konged that gap underneath the mountain without hitting his back. He Konged.
Oh, he's under. Okay.
He actually
Really?
Konged. Yeah. And he's like 6'2" or something.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
Dang.
I think it's both like a heat of the moment thing, but also what the intent is. Because what Amos was saying is accurate, because I wanted to cut the corner. But it also goes with like useful in chasing or evading more so. Like if I was running away, I think it would depend on who's chasing me and which route I'd probably take. and also if my body will let me actually do what I wanted to do instead of just reacting.
So,
Rob, you do a good job of watching people. Smart play here.
yeah, for the Apex
Yeah,
guys,
Rob,
you're
you've been
2-0 up
pretty quiet.
already. So are you guys feeling that this is going to be another cakewalk, or are you still like, thinking this might be a tense match?
I'll let Jason and Rob speak some.
Rob, you go for it. How did you feel during
Perfect
How
timing
did
on
I
the
feel
nod
during the
there.
evasions, or how did I feel like going into the matches?
Yeah,
this
just
one
how you
like
felt
specifically.
this one.
Oh, this was like a really fun match because it was just like try hard collective. So like we like all talked beforehand about just like I don't know how it felt different from other competitions, like NAPC and other competitions. I don't know. It's like really just you battling yourself. Like yeah, you're. What? Is my voice not coming through?
No, you're
No,
fine.
it's
It's all good.
Oh, I heard something.
I
Yeah,
can't hear him on my end, but
it
that's
felt
okay.
a lot more fun. It was a lot more fun than like regular competition styles. Like you just didn't feel the weight of anything, to the extent of like you just had to run fast, and if you kept the other person running, you did your job.
That's such a
You're, like,
good
basically
fake by
tired them out.
Elijah right there.
I
Rob, you
remember
were
this
like,
match.
squeezed by.
You can barely hear
Watching
it,
the same
but
thing
like
on
in the
me.
background, we're yelling at Rob to just stop and just slow down and get tagged.
Yeah.
Well, it was 13 out of 16, and we're like, we want more experience.
Yeah.
Rob, don't get the hat trick. Chill.
Yeah.
And he was just like, okay, no, I'm just gonna do it.
Someone
My
in the...
notes from this, Marcus, let me just, say this. My notes from this, from these two chases, is that I'm just reading out what I've got here. Is that these from chase 11 and 12 is like a masterclass in timing, and we often talk, like I mentioned timing before about bolting at the right time, but this was this chase 11 and 12 was not just timing but positioning. Like Rob seemed to find himself in a certain place, right, where if you position yourself correctly, you create indecision in the chaser. And I think that's what, like, timing and positioning, I think for these two chasers were really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd
absolutely.
be interesting, Rob, to get your comments on that.
Yeah, like I found it like really interesting, like when to choose going on top of the mountain, because it's an interesting spot to accelerate. So I felt like it was very natural to go on top of the mountain in this scenario, because he was coming from that angle, and so it kind of did create. I had an ability to have a little bit more options and direction changes without having to like. I didn't have to accelerate really fast in order to make use of them. So going up felt like a good decision, and I felt like that didn't happen a lot. Felt like going up on top of the mountain just didn't happen a lot for me. So seeing myself go up there, I was trying to remember why I did that, and I feel like it's because of the EQ between me and Kian at that time.
An interesting observation from my point of view is that I also talked about, like, sometimes if you see Usain Bolt run, he doesn't necessarily look fast, his actions, but he's just moving at incredible speed because he's taller than everyone else, so he doesn't need to move as fast. You said you're 6'2", but different people have different, like some people have longer bodies, shorter legs, some people have longer legs. How long are your legs? And I say this in a funny way because Amos, you put out a picture of Apex on the quad, and you're all standing in various positions. Olaf is balancing on that pole at the front. Rob, you are straddling the mountain, yeah? And it's normal. It doesn't look odd in any shape or form at all. And then I went outside, and I was imagining myself getting into that position. And I think I'd be injured for a long time if I tried. Like, and
it's not like it's not like Jean-Claude Van Damme splits. It's casual. Do you know what I mean? You're just casually standing on the mountain. It's weird.
He's got to eat at Noodles and Company more. Those long legs.
Yeah.
Going back to that, I remember you guys mentioned about Richard conging underneath the mountain. He was saying that it's absolutely gross and he'd never do it again. I can imagine that is pretty awful. So, guys, if anyone in chat, if you've got any questions, we'll do a Q&A now. So send your questions in. If you've got anyone in particular you want to ask, just put their name first and then put the question afterwards. So Jeff M says, will the playoffs be the same format as last year, or will there be any changes of any kind? I guess that's Christian David.
Well, we've never done a format like this. Basically, from now on, it's just the playoffs are basically 4 matches, and it's the second and third place matches from each team. We've mixed up the teams, so you don't play the same person you played from before, the same teams. But the playoffs are there's 8 second and third place teams, and they all play each other. The losers get eliminated, so we 4 end up going through, and those 4 then meet up with the 4 that are winners of the groups, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that right. But so we haven't done this format before. So we've never done anything like this before. But after the playoffs, the format is exactly the same as WCT4 and the Euros and stuff. It's just a straight knockout. Quarterfinals, semifinals, third place playoff, then final. But we've never had this group stage in the playoff before. But from now on, it's all eliminations. If any team loses 1 match, they're out.
Yeah, so Dino is asking, he asked this earlier actually, 4 athletes, oh no, it's gone. He said 4 athletes, I just remembered, 4 athletes, he says, is there any move that you wish you had done on the quad that you can't do during the chase because it's too risky?
Jared's speed step to the mountain.
Speed step to the
Every
mountain.
time. That one.
I've always wanted to try Kirill's running jump to the bar from the mountain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one looks like a fun. But like doing that in a match is just like, how did you do that in match?
Yeah.
Greg had taught. I don't want to give away any secrets that Greg is going to be working on. If Greg's on the stream, maybe he can stop me. But he was talking about. I don't want to give anything away, but this would be such a crazy move. Do you know what I'm talking about, Marcus?
I think so, yeah.
Because he was talking about doing what Kirill did, but jumping, but doing a 180. And preying onto them,
under bar back,
and then seeing where they are. So you jump, you do a 180, you prey onto the thing, but then you see where they are, then you review the situation. Which would be kind of crazy. If they've gone underneath, I guess you could then prey back onto the mountain and go back to the thing. If they're following behind you, I guess you just go back down again. Sorry, Greg, if I gave that away, but that is a good move.
That was always the joke.
Thoughts about that.
That'd be crazy if you could 180.
Do you remember the chase I did with Tryhard where I ended up getting out of the quad? So that was the plan, was to do that. Kong 180 and then dodge that way. I messed up my foot placement with it. So, because the 180s are a very useful thing to just like spot for a second, then you can just juke out because you're already positioned for it.
There's a quick question from.
That's more or less what Roth did. No? Roth did that move, like similar.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a quick question from Pretzel. He's saying, will the interview type videos keep going? How will the schedule work for those? I think you're talking about the podcast. We've got 1 more left. We were going to put it out, but we realized there's a lot of spoilers in it. So we're going to leave it till after WCT USA. So it won't be too long, but yeah, there's 1 more coming about who are the best athletes in World Chase Tag. And I'm not going to try even pronounce this because your name is in Russian and I don't speak Russian. He says, is there any chance you can make a tournament between post-Soviet countries, Ukraine, Russia, Belarus?
Actually, one of the things I have to do tonight is get back to some people that we're talking to about the possibility of doing something for CIS, like all the Soviets, former Soviet states. Let's see what happens. But yeah, we want to get as many people involved. We're talking to a few teams in like Russia and Ukraine. I'd love to see, eventually we definitely want to get like as many different countries involved. And we call it like the WCT pyramid. So we'll have the World Chase Tag, World Championships at the top of the pyramid, which we'll have 1 a year. The idea is to have 3 continental championships eventually. This is a Pan-American one for North, South, and Central America. We'll have Europe, Middle East, and Africa Championship. We'll have an Asian Championship. The Asian will include like India, Pakistan, China, as well as like Australia, New Zealand, that sort of thing. And then you need to qualify to get to that, and then you qualify up to the Worlds. We do it like that. That's eventually what we hope will happen. So we're just trying to. It takes the various stages that we have to, as you know from like seeing the production. There is like an expense involved, and so we're trying to get the right partners involved for sponsorship, so that we can like expand this out around the world. So we're working on it. And eventually we'll get there, hopefully sooner rather than later.
So a couple of people are asking, when is the next match going up? The next match will be going up on Friday, and that's when the playoffs are kicking off. So yeah, get ready for Friday, because that is a tasty match, that one is.
So no uploads coming Tuesday then?
What's that, sir?
So no, we were going to do a podcast on Tuesday, but we realised that it gives away spoilers. So yeah, we had
to. So we're just skipping Tuesday, going to Friday. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was going to shift anything back one.
No. First match will be Friday, and there's 4 playoffs. And from memory, I remember the playoffs being really interesting. So I'm looking forward to start going through them and editing them and releasing them. I think they should be interesting.
Who's the first match in the playoffs?
First match, I think, is I'll have it. It's Hollywood THC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I got a question from Promit. Says, Evaders, what are your favorite locations in the quad to suddenly reverse direction? If any of you guys want
Tilted Cube.
Tilted Cube?
I know. Let's see. I know a lot of people said they don't like the Lazy Boy. I really liked the Lazy Boy there. I don't know what it was. I felt like I was able to use it pretty well. And because I realized it wasn't high EQ, so I didn't try to overestimate it, but then I think Chasers underestimated it. So I was able to get a lot of jukes there and either cut across the front line or under the sisters after that.
What's the top? What's the front right?
Yeah, for anyone just wondering, that's the Lazy Boy here, front left.
The front left. What's the front right?
Front right?
The ridge?
That's the ridge.
The ridge. I feel like everyone always in that corner has to turn around if they're coming from the loading bay.
I feel like
and they also, if you don't do it right, you'll get tagged.
I feel like Mark used the sisters as a turning point because the chaser is usually looking at it as like a through, so they're already trying to cut off, and so I don't know. You notice Mark cuts back on that spot a lot, whether it's QM or like a complete, like, was it Seth? He was prepared, like Ruji was like prepared to do like a bounce back for a redirect in that spot. I don't know. It's a really interesting spot to see redirects and changes.
My favorite turnaround spot is on top of the mountain. I think that's where I got my only evasion. I stopped like halfway up, just completely turned around, ran down the other side, and that's like just confused the hell out of the people that were chasing me.
By the way, people, Julian's here now.
Hello, I'm here.
What's up, Julian?
Yeah, come closer, Julian. Come closer.
Yeah, we just watched that match with you changing direction on the mountain.
That was a blast. That was such a fun.
Can I just answer a few questions as well that come up that I've been noticing? So Rick asked, are all matches will be on YouTube? Yeah, our intention as things stand at the moment is that we would put all matches on YouTube. Dustin asked, is Russia part of Europe, Middle East, and Africa? Yeah, it will be. And Burak asked about like platinum. I don't know what he's talking about. He said he asked 4 times, but I don't know what he's talking about. It was platinum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just trying to. Sorry.
Or is he trying to plug something?
Yeah, he's trying to shitpost. Eric AU says, for any athletes, were there any teams or individuals from the other groups that really impressed you?
APK Gray.
APK Gray. Unknown Project.
I have too long of a list. There are so many good athletes there.
Could you name a few? Like top 3 or something?
Well, maybe if I stick to Group D, I was really impressed with Raul. He definitely informed some ideas around strategy for me. Frank is a crazy man. Mark and Frank and Ethan definitely made our lives difficult. Let's see. I was surprised by Kian. He really came through for tryhard. Let's see. Jonathan's a fast man. Yeah, there's so many.
What about Ross? I thought Ross was quite inventive.
Oh yeah, Ross is really fast and was really good at being intuitive. So you could tell that he didn't have a lot of planned stuff, but he just moved so fluidly. Ross, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, there are too many.
I loved Ross's backup, and like what that was that Winston that was like crawling towards him.
Yeah,
Julian, I just noticed your trousers.
Oh my god.
Ruined the surprise.
What are you talking about? The goal on top. Do you want to see what's under these trousers?
Amazing.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
It better not be nothing.
Oh no, we're gonna get shut down by
This is
YouTube.
whiskey.
No.
This is whiskey.
Boys, ready? You ready for this?
I was kind of hoping it'd be nothing.
That'd be
The double.
It was ready.
Is this censored? Is this allowed on this shit?
You had 2 sets?
1 second, what happened?
He's like, oh, you guys want to see my strip away pants? Yeah, no, I'll do it.
Julian, you would have gone down in World Chase Tag history if you were just wearing like a Santa hat thong or something.
Oh, dude. Next time.
Yeah, the double strip away. That was amazing.
Every time he does a chase now, every time he gets a tag, he's just gonna take another pair of pants off.
Yeah. Stock it up. Going down.
That's hilarious. Yeah, guys, keep sending your questions in. If you've got any person in particular you'd like to ask a question for, just put their name first and then put the question afterwards.
Actually, while we've got quite a lot of athletes on board, I want to sort of like maybe we started this when we were offline, but bearing in mind that a lot of the Apex guys are rolling up their sleeves, and Saran used to roll up his sleeve as well. Where are we? What's the feeling on sleeveless tops? Are they? Would you like it?
Well,
John designed a Calvin Klein model.
I like sleeveless tops. I feel like, but like it's nice. It's nice that we had sleeveless tops, and then it was just kind of walking onto the crowd for the court, and we were like, "We're those guys." I like them.
Yeah. You could just maybe make it optional. People can cut them off if they want or something.
Yeah.
So
Have
true.
zips,
Like, how
so
to
you
get
can
the
just-
large?
you
I
can
feel like
unzip
everyone
it if you
had
want
to get the large T-shirt.
Just unzip it.
Although I do, like on one of your chases, Jason, like you do the smell, like bloody hell, and I've got those.
Oh no,
I stink. they do smell bad.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I was like, oh, it's chill. I don't remember who I was looking at, but I'm like, I stank. And then he was like, yeah, no, me too. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, me.
So Jeff M is saying, with vaccines rolling out, will there be looser COVID restrictions, bigger crowds maybe? Question mark.
We hope so. We really hope so. It's difficult to really tell for now, but I mean, we're planning on the events we're planning. I mean, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say, but we're planning around hopefully August time and October, September time. And who knows what the situation is going to be in. Our main priority is the World Championships. And I know France, obviously it'd be good to have France, you know, if French people are able to compete because the defending champions are French, Blacklist the French, you know, United and Blacklist, they're going to be two top teams, seeded teams. So we really hope that's going to be open. But yeah, it's difficult to really tell, really. And last time, the only people that traveled when we went to America were me, Christian, and Mike, the producer. And we had to go do all kind of stuff to the embassy and get permission for this and get tests and all this kind of stuff. And so I don't think that level of attention is going to be possible if we have like 60 athletes coming in from abroad. And so I hope it's not. I hope it clears a lot. And we would love to have an audience again. I think, you know, the atmosphere at WTUSO was amazing. And it was really, really cool, but I wish there was an audience there. It would have been more stressful. There's no doubt about it, because, you know, just with the filming and all this kind of stuff, it's more stressful if there's an audience, but it would have been really cool to have an audience. So hopefully next time, you know, we will be able to have that, you know. And there's also talk of potentially, I don't even know if we can say this about going live, but potentially we may be able to go live this year, like to broadcast it live. and that's going to add another stress to it. But that could be an interesting dynamic too. The fact that it's live and there's no second take or anything like that. And so it could be interesting. And I really hope, fingers crossed, that there's an audience though. I think that would add a lot of atmosphere to it and just a lot of pressure and just it'd just be wicked if it was live, basically. Live with an audience.
Yeah, Rick Hamburg says live broadcasting is the dream. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's extra stressful, that's for sure.
How would the athletes feel about if there was a live audience? Not a big one, like a few hundred people, a couple hundred people. Would it make much difference?
Bigger the better, I think. More exciting.
Yeah.
Spur you on. Yeah, so quick question from Dino. Again, thanks for commenting so much. He says, for SoFlo, what color is your shirt? What color is that?
It's maroon, I think.
Color of winners! We won here! In our hearts!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's maroon or wine.
Maroon.
I just thought it was dope, so I was like, can we get that one?
Yeah, no one else chose that shirt. No one else chose it.
Really? I thought this color was so sick.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
Oh, dude, I was jealous a little bit because I was like, man, they got a pretty cool color. We're just gray.
I know. It should have been APK wine. Maroon.
Actually, I thought the APK blue was a really nice kind of blue. I really like that.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I think SoFlo and Five Boroughs were my favorite favorite looking jerseys.
Yeah, dude. Five Borough
was really good.
Like with the arm difference for the gray and purple. That was good.
Yeah, maybe controversial opinion, but Enzo Movement, I really like their t-shirt as well. In person, when you see that, that's really nice. The bright green and grey, I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a good one too. I like the two-tone color, like the two-tone style was good.
Yeah,
that was cool.
No cap shirt was actually pretty dope.
Pentagus is saying, make that SoFlo's tagline the color of winners.
Please.
Yeah, and B Wolko is saying, as was said earlier, SoFlo may not have won the competition, but they won our hearts. It's definitely true.
Number one.
Pretzel KCH at Frank. Was that Kong over the ridge on purpose? It looked like it took a considerable amount of effort. I think he's talking about the one where you double step up and Kong over.
Yeah, no, I messed up on there because I was actually trying to just push off and then just keep going, but then momentum had a different idea for me, and I was like, shit, I can't go under. I'm right here. Just Kong it. You'll be fine. And then it ended up working. Luckily, I got pretty good dive tech and Kongs.
Wait,
otherwise, I think it was Seth after the match that told me. Seth Ruji. It was like, yeah, after you did that Kong, he was really close to you. Like, I'm surprised that he didn't catch you. And I was like, oh, good thing I wasn't looking back.
Frank, was it the same thing as Ethan? Were you like running up on the side and couldn't get down off of it or something? Or
yeah, I was just running on the side and I was like, shit.
Badass.
Shout out Jeff M.
So I can't speak. Heinz Hubber says, at the Brothers, the UK camera angle is a bit lower than the American one. Which one do you like better? I'm going to just step in and answer that. UK, 100%. As a filmmaker, UK filming was better. But I don't know, what's your opinion, Damien and Christian?
Yeah, we talked about that quite a lot, actually. Just about how I think in the UK one, they kind of used a wider angle lens and they shot it from further down, like they shot it from the hip and they stood closer to the quad. And I think it did look better. Yeah. Ideally, what we want to try and do is have, like at WCT3, we had them on steady cams. We had a fixed wide angle lens with a steady cam, and with a big harness so they could carry it the whole time. And I think that looked really, really nice. It's a wide angle lens, so it kind of always had the chaser and the evader. It always had the chaser and the evader in shot, most time because it was a fixed wide angle lens and the camera work was just really, really smooth.
Yeah.
And I think, it's kind of budget and what the production company can kind of have, what equipment they have already to try and keep costs down and stuff like that. But I think ultimately that's set up.
and and we use like a production company, like they're our partners, so they have like a crew and everything like that. Whereas before, we kind of used like parkour guys. These are much younger guys. And when they were finished, these guys looked like the athletes. The cameramen were they were covered in sweat.
At WCT3, that's
hard work. They were running. Yeah.
Yeah, you
and,
gotta imagine.
obviously-
So the teams, they get rest in between, but for basically the whole idea was to have gimbals on both sides of the quad, right? Because it keeps the momentum with the chase, the action, and it looks really nice. Is kind of the idea, but you don't get any rest if you're a cameraman because you're carrying a heavy ass gimbal. I mean, we try and make it as light as possible, but you are running up and down as fast as they are, but for every single chase of every single match that entire night. So it's like the ultimate workout.
So I'm hearing that's the prep for the next event. You get to be a camera guy, and then you're just a beast on when the next World Chase Tag event is because you have to carry the camera the whole time.
100%. So question again for the brothers. B Welco says, how is the quad secured? Do they bolt down, or are they just heavy enough that it's safe? Question mark.
Yeah, it's heavy enough. But all the obstacles, what we found is that the more obstacles we add in and the more we interconnect them like a web, just the more secure the obstacle becomes. So it's actually very interconnected. And a lot of the things that have sort of become part of the quad are actually there for structural reasons. A lot of little bars here and there and random little place things. They were put there originally more as a structural thing. Then we thought, okay, we have to have a bar here. How do we make an obstacle out of that? So just, no, they're not secured down. It would be a lot easier. We could probably design it a lot more like how we want to design it if we didn't have to have it structured, if we could just drill into the floor and just secure it like that. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So we've had to kind of have something. There's a lot that goes into it because it has to look aesthetically nice. It has to play well. It has to flow nicely. It has to be structurally sound and safe. So there's a lot of kind of things that go into it. And we also has to be able to pick up all the action from all the cameras in different places. So that has to go into the sort of design of it. So there's a lot that goes into it. And some of the obstacles, they look like just obstacles, but they're actually structural things as well, And we've learned along the way. Like I think at WCT3, we had like the mountain tables. There's two small tables in front of the mountain. There's a kind of loop on one of them that's connected. There's a little bar connected to the ridge. We didn't have that bar connected to the ridge before, that little platform. And someone, I think it's Richard, he jumped off the mountain onto that loop, and the whole table just lifted up. We hadn't thought in a chase, no one would really do that. But because they're just warming up doing parkour, they always find these different jumps to do. And so then on the night, we thought, oh shit, that can't work. So we took off that loop. And then next year we realized, okay, we're going to have to secure that. So then we put that, at first it was a bar, but Javier conged over it and slipped and hurt his back. So then we turned it into a platform. So a lot of these things have just evolved over time. And a lot of the obstacles have a structural kind of
and
thing.
Someone broke the starter plate. Like, I don't know who it was. Yeah.
Yeah, this year at WCT.
This year, someone broke the starter plate. We noticed it like at the end of the training or at the end of day one. I can't remember. But Two Rock had to go in. Like he went in early the next day, and he had to put loads of stuff underneath the and pad out the starter plate.
I noticed a lot of people, like Fernando, did a huge jump from the front line when he won and jumped on it. He jumped. A lot of people, Seth kept jumping on it, stamping on it,
punching it.
Yeah, punching it. So yeah.
The parkour athletes to tell you how structurally sound you're
Yeah.
I'm just gonna answer a quick question.
Actually, just one more thing about that.
Oh, yeah.
Just one more thing about the quad. We're actually through our partners in China who have actually put on an event recently. We're actually going to try and look into getting at the moment the quad is all made of scaffolding. And it's quite expensive, to buy the scaffolding clamps and the tubes and all this kind of stuff. So I know SoFlo, you guys had asked about how would you go around building your own quad. What we're looking into the moment, we're going to start looking into is actually to build, get a factory in China to actually weld it. So there's no clamps at all, and you just attach everything with the rivets. So we're looking into that at the moment, which would make it much cheaper
and lighter.
Yeah, lighter and cheaper. And then it's just all shipped out flat packed. and then you just assemble it yourself. So and then it'll be official quad. There's no, because with scaffolding you can get a measurement wrong, and you can put a bar here and where it should be a bit lower and all this kind of stuff. We want to make a thing so it's just an official quad, and that's that. That's what we're looking into.
I like that. That's probably good for us.
Officially, it was Dominic that broke the starter plate. Now we know.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh, Dominic Chavez broke it. I stomped on it a few times, my bad. So we'll be writing you a bill, Dominic, for that.
Yeah.
So I got a question here I thought was quite interesting. Pyron A is saying, is there like a Discord or something for the WCT fans? This is a really chill community, and I feel like it'd be cool to have a place to talk about. I've been thinking about that for a while. We have a subreddit. If you want to look it up, it's r/board chase tag. You can go on the Reddit. But if you guys, fans, you want a Discord, we have a Discord already for the athletes, but we can make parts of it public if you want, and have people on there as a community if you want it.
That would be dope.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. And another comment from Promit. I can't speak at the moment. He says, I think they have low latency drones now. We can have FPV drones controlled by people. And that, interesting enough, there was an event in China, a nationals event, and they had an FPV drone there that they were flying around. I don't think it would be safe enough to do, in a proper event, like a big scale one, but it did look pretty cool when they did it.
Yeah,
I was actually really impressed by the flying skills.
Yeah. We did it also in the summer. We did a backyard flight club, and Kieran from Marera Gang, not Kieran Owen, Kieran Hawkins. He's good with the drone, and he was filming around, did some stuff with it, and it does look really, really cool.
We basically need one of those big ass spider cameras with all the cables that come off it, and then you can just bring it around wherever you want. It only cost a few million, so when we get. So I'm gonna butcher the name, but Aparam Pahambaderi. God, that was so bad. Says, fun fact: Apex is the only team with over 50% evasion rate. I'd like to check that because that's actually quite interesting. Out of Group D.
Over time, man.
Well, 50%, that's bloody high.
Here's another fun fact that that I saw, that someone else had pointed out as well. And Apex, at the end of the group matches, Apex was the only team with 100% outright win record within the 16 chases. They were the only teams. 5 teams won 2 matches, 7 teams won 1 match, and there were 3 teams that didn't win within the 16. But Apex was the only one that won all 3.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, 9 points.
So Heinz Hubber is saying, if Red Bull offered to sponsor, host, and help organize the event, would you do it? Basically make into a Red Bull event. Which I know we've talked about this before.
Red Bull are a potential sponsor like no one else. So yeah, if they wanted to partner with us, absolutely we'd be willing to work with them. What we won't do is compromise on the things that we feel are important for the sport. Yeah, we can't do that. We've had conversations like with TV people, and when you see things like what happened to Ultimate Tag and what they're trying to do, this is why we have to make a stance on certain things, and there's certain things that we just won't compromise on. And we're lucky enough that we have partnered with Tupelo Honey Productions. We're part of Grey Television, and they've been very, very good about, because right from the beginning when we were negotiating with them, we said there were certain things that we hold dear. We call the chase cycle. So from the time the match starts, we call that the chase cycle. So the 10 seconds out, athletes ready, chase announcer, the thing starts, the lights, this is up to us, right? And if we get feedback from the athletes and they say, we can't do this, the chase is this, we'll take on board that and we'll discuss it with them. But what we won't do is to it needs to be more jeopardy or this, or we need to have more fun or this. No. Our motto has always been from the beginning, we want to see the best people chase. And these are some of the things that are really, really important.
And nothing is quad design. we've had a couple of sponsors that have said, "Oh, can we put a car on the quad, or can we have like one of the obstacles shaped like a can or a crisp or something like that?" And we're just like, no, that's not. The amount of time and arguments you've had about single bar placements on the quad. No, that bar should be an inch higher. No, they'll never jump over it. They'll always crawl underneath if we don't have it that high, and all this kind of crap. So just say, now scoop a whole section out and put in the shape of a can or something like that. No. I'm saying that now. If they'll probably give us 10 million, then there'll be cans all over the quad.
Imagine that in UFC.
Yeah. Rick Hamburg says, "I love how the brothers just won the absolute best thing for the sport. You guys are doing amazing stuff."
Yeah, but don't give sometimes that sounds as if you're too. The reason why we say what we say is not necessarily because we're nice people and we need a round of applause and stuff like that. No, we're saying that because. Actually,
but thank you for the round of applause.
Because what we want, we don't want to do something that makes a bit of money now in 2 years or something. We want something that lasts.
We want to make a lot of money in 10 years' time.
Our thinking is not just based on we're nice and we think about this or that. No, it's really important that we're trying to establish something that lasts for a long period of time, and it won't last if you just try and suck all the blood out straight away and just say, "Yeah, fuck, we're gonna sell." No, it's it just won't work like that, So it's nothing to do with the fact that we're nice. It's just that's how we think.
That's how we build properly.
The best thing for everybody long term, and even this element of creating an ecosystem that everybody benefits. Again, we're not doing that because we're nice people or something like that. We're doing that because we think that's the best way for everybody to succeed if everyone has a vested interest. This is it. It's nothing to do with nice. We could be nice or we could be dickheads. It doesn't. It's not relevant in that particular.
Right. And you guys are nice.
And you guys
You're not being dickheads.
So Promet is saying, yes, stats, we need stats. Hopefully a fantasy league too. So if you guys haven't seen yet, any of the fans that are listening, if you go on the community tab or you go on our Instagram, the community tab on YouTube, you'll see we've been posting stat cards for each team. SoFlo's actually just went up the other day. So there's all the official stats for each team on those cards. So if you're into stats, go check those out. And we're dropping those every time a team gets knocked out. So obviously, unfortunately, SoFlo's just went up. But
knocked out.
Richard Thompson says, "Hey Mark, why do you have such high court IQ?" He's rating.
Honestly, it's all reactionary. You don't, at least for me, there's not a lot of time to think. You just have to see them and make a decision of which way to go. And I loved playing tag as a kid, and that's how I played, was find something, get them to go one way, or find out where they're going, and then just go the other way. So it sounds really simple, but that's kind of... Go ahead.
It is really weird, though, because when you watch people back, a lot of time, so many evasions could have been, that could have been evasion, but they made a mistake. Could have been evasion, but they made a mistake. But you generally made so few mistakes. It's weird. It was really weird how few mistakes. You always seem to make the right decision. It was bizarre.
I'm interested in what you just said, though, because I was going to ask you, what's your sporting background? But you said, I used to play a lot of tag, right? And I'm interested. I'm interested.
Growing up, I love playing tag on playgrounds and with family. But my family did kind of give we play with my cousin. I have a lot of cousins. They hated chasing me, and so I always try to get tagged so I could chase people. But then, as far as my background in sports, I played baseball, football, basketball until I got into parkour my freshman year of high school. So I'm coming up on 10 years now. Oh, and I also did some martial arts when I was younger, but that was 3 or 4 years, and I was from age 8 to 11. So it's been 13 years since I've done martial arts. So it's in the background, but I wouldn't say I'm a martial artist by any point. but
And the reason
primarily
why
parkour.
the reason why I asked that is because, like, my son, who is Orlando, I don't know if you watch. He's in a team called Fat,
Team Fat.
and they're actually going on a trip at the moment. Like it's freezing at the moment. It snowed today, and they're going for like 2 weeks. They're just sleeping in tents in woods and stuff like that. And
It's so cold right now.
yeah, it's really cold. But
They sent a picture.
Orlando,
Sorry, they sent a picture of their sleeping bags, and it's literally just lined with frost. And I'm like, nah.
Oh no!
And but it's interesting because he's always played tag from the time like kid, and then we started it kind of from playing tag with him.
Yeah.
So he's sort of always played tag, and it's interesting that his understanding of body language and his sussing out, I know when you're going to move and I know when you're not going to move, right? It's spot on. And some of the times when you play with someone, especially someone who maybe didn't play a lot of tag when they were young, and they don't, because in other sports you don't always, you might read body language, but you don't read it in the same way of when you're going and when you're not going. And those people just have such an advantage if you can read that language, you know. Like there's another guy who we play with out here, and you can always tell what he's gonna do. You can always, he's just like written on his forehead or something like that. And so disguising, this is a really important skill.
Actually, it's interesting because tag, I've never thought about it from before, but all the other sports where you do have to read body language, you're always concentrating on something else. Like if it's football or soccer,
there's a ball.
Your main priority should be looking at the body language, but you're concentrating on the ball. You know, you're always concentrating on something else. Or like if it's tennis, you're trying to hit the ball. But tag is one of the only sports where all you're doing is looking at body language, apart from martial arts. But that's slightly different because, you know, But
Just
tag
gonna
is like,
answer. A couple of people have mentioned trading cards. I'm gonna go full screen for this, bad boy. So a couple of people have mentioned trading cards. So a lot of people seem interested in them, which is really cool. And Pentagon says trading cards for WCT sounds very cool, but I'm pretty sure they focus their money and attention on the competition. Well, if you guys, another reason you should go check out the stat cards on the community tab is because we are, at least hopefully, we're going to be printing them, and you will be able to buy official proper trading cards for WCT USA. And we're going to try and do those for each event going forward. So, yeah, get looking at those because those are going to be quite big going forward, I reckon. In terms of like
spend all my savings on trading cards.
We're working on how to make a game out of it.
Yeah.
Me and Jason got a start on it.
Kylie Faye had a good question here. For all athletes, do any other female athletes come to mind that you may or might not personally know that you'd love to see on WCT in the future? I would say there are tons of different picks, but I would say Silky would be kind of like that Seth body type, real fast.
Yep.
We've also got Taylor.
Came to 2 events. She came to 2 events.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I confused that with another thing she did.
Shirt printed for her and everything. She was in the squad. Then the first time she said she wasn't really feeling up to it. She felt a bit nervous about it and stuff like that. She didn't want to compete. And they had a strong team. They had a whole big squad. They were all there and stuff. So she didn't compete. The second time she was going to play, and then she rolled her ankle. But I would really like to see her play as well. Yeah, in the warm-up.
And then also we've got Taylor Carpenter as an alternate for Apex.
I would love to see her.
You might see her soon. And then also a ton of people in the comments say you, Kylie. So you should be training.
But Taylor, I've seen her do some speed stuff. Like when Valentine was training with you out in America, I saw her going head to head with Valentine, and she was just amazing. Like I would love to see her chase.
And do you know Fleur from France? I think she's now in Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, she's in Cirque du Soleil. She did an event that we did in Paris one time with an 8-meter quad. And she was so good. She was so good.
Aggressive, like Ashley. Aggressive.
I love watching her play. Yeah.
Let's see. Georgia Monroe for me. I definitely would love to see her play.
With Georgia, she always comes to the event, so she's quite familiar with everything. I would love to see
that. Number 3.
Yeah, we are trying hard to get her into the next little event that we're trying to do. Because, she'd be really cool to see.
I don't know if I should say anything. I might as well say it. If we get a UK, hopefully we're going to do like a small event that we want to get Georgia to compete in. But if we can do a UK championship, I would love to get Georgia to sort of put together a team. Get her to be one of the captains to put together a team.
And we did it when we did the Euros. We were we did like an activation as part of there was a company called Pro to Go, like a protein bar that was sponsoring it, and they did an activation before. So people from the outside would come in during the day and have lessons. So we had about I don't know 6 or 7 hours, hour-long slots that Connor and James were running these with just like amateurs, And after one of the slots, after the event, actually it might have been the next day, I can't remember. I was just, standing on, and I saw this girl. They'd finished the slot, and there was this girl on the quad, and someone was filming her, and she was going over the sisters. She was speedful, and she was just incredible. And I was like, "Fuck! Look at that! Who is this? This girl's amazing. Who is she?" And then I didn't see because I was up on the balcony, so I came down to just look at this person just moving to the quad, and it was Katie McDonald. I didn't know that she had signed up for it or anything like that. But yeah, I'd love to see her as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so B. Walco is saying it'd be interesting to see some Ninja Warrior competitors try WCT. I think that is one of the athletic backgrounds we haven't seen.
We got plenty. We had so many.
Good chunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amos. Just in the USA.
Yeah, how many people in the USA teams were Ninja Warrior athletes?
Even Greg actually.
Kyle, I think.
Yeah, Greg.
Amos not going to tell you what he is.
No,
I was
not true. I'd never do that.
Vigo on Antidote was. I think Vigo on Antidote, he was.
Okay. Like Kyle Soderman. He was,
Kyle.
Kyle's in the new one. Like Valentine.
Yeah, a lot of Black guys. United guys, they competed.
It's very
Claymore,
Jacob, WCT2.
Like the guys from Ashley Garrow. Yeah, they've been on it. Loads and loads of people.
Yeah, so another question from
Toby Seeger.
Yeah, Toby Seeger. Yeah. So we'll do a final few questions, guys. So send in your final questions if you've got any. Tim Champion, another one. So most people in WCT are actually Ninja Warrior athletes. So send in your final questions if you've got any, and we'll be wrapping up soon. So Promet says, why do you think teams like Stora weren't able to succeed in WCT? That's very interesting.
I think it was early. They were literally at our first event.
Yeah.
And so I don't think anyone knew what to expect. And they're busy.
To me, it's obvious, right? Stora have all the tools to be really, really good. I mean, these guys are amazing athletes, right? And they're really good. Stora are so busy doing what they do that they don't have the time to dedicate to thinking about strategy. Strategy is so important that if you come to the event thinking that you're just good at parkour and then you'll breeze through it and you don't think about strategy, I guarantee you will not succeed. 100%.
Frank, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so here's the best way Richard from UGen told me about it when we were, I think we were at a pub or something. He was like, Store is one of the best parkour teams out there. They got some of the best people doing some of the best parkour runs and lines imaginable. But this isn't parkour, this is tag. And then that's how he ended his conversation. That was it. And they just walked away. So I think that plays a good chunk into it, because with the parkour mindset, you do moves ahead of time, start thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, and line building. With this, it's variable. You have no idea what's going to happen. So that's where it comes in for the difference.
I'll tell you an interesting thing. Before we started, so for us, and this is a very important part of our journey. If you had to say, if you had a timeline of what were the important milestones, there was a date in May 2015. We booked 2 dates, right? We booked it through Kai Willis, And we said to Kai, look, could you find us 8 athletes? And we built our first quad. And to us, it was this was a proof of concept. And me and Damien said we invested in the quad, and we said, look, if we're gonna see what it looks like to have good parkour athletes play tag, and we both agreed if this doesn't look good in our minds, we were gonna just like get rid of the scaffolding and walk away, right? This was, and we decided 100% if this doesn't look good. And Kai found 4 guys from Storm and 4 guys from Stora. Yeah, he was Pip Anderson, it was Ashley Holland, Blue, Joseph, and who else is the from Storm?
It was
Phil Doyle. And Phil Doyle, yeah. And then from Stora, he had Drew, Benj, Max, and
I think it was Josh, right?
Josh, yeah, and Josh, yeah. There were 8 guys, yeah. And we were playing at the time, before we developed our thing, we had another thing that I actually had a patent on, a timing system, which was a multiplayer. So the tag was being transferred from player to player, right? And like to see these guys, it was just like at the time we didn't fully appreciate.
We had no idea what to expect.
Who it was just Kai found the most awesome people, yeah. And Giles was filming it, and as well as Chris and Kai we had 3 cameramen, and so we had we were just blessed with all these amazing people around at the time, and it was interesting because in that environment, no one prepped, no one had the time to think, right? And it was interesting to see with those characters, like who would be the best, yeah, and it was a really interesting question, and we still got the footage. We haven't put it out or anything because it was a different sort of format. But in terms of raw athlete ability and fast twitch muscle, I would say Blue, Paul Joseph,
and Pip
were the best.
Blue and Pip were really
Blue was the best, but Pip, and maybe now no one understands how good Pip. They might not have been his first choice. Pip absolutely dominated everyone in terms of strategy and stuff. Yeah. Pip was by far the best, but everyone picked on Pip. So they when we did this sort of event, the people that won, it was actually Benj that won, and Max came second. Yeah, but it was interesting. So if in hierarchy, in terms of just raw ability, I would say Blue was he would be my guy. If I didn't see them playing tag, I just saw them doing parkour, I'd probably pick Blue 100% as my number 1 guy. But in terms of tag potential, Pip, Benj, and Max, they got it. So what I'm saying is sometimes your ability physically is one thing, but your understanding of the game and strategy is something else, and different skill sets come about. It was an interesting day for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to watch the video, there's I will learn more about how it started. There's a video on our channel called "How to Turn Playground Game into a Global Sport." Go check that out. It pretty much explains how Chase Tag came to be.
But we've never released that Storm Star footage.
No, there's a bit of it in there. There's a bit of it in there, I think.
There's snippets of it, but we've never properly. It'd be good to release them at some point.
Yeah, if you go and see that.
You could do it for Tuesday since there's a bit of a block.
You need something to.
Yeah,
you're making us wait till Friday. We need something to say that's till then.
Yeah. The reason why we didn't do it, we never released it, is because after that that shoot, we realized there was a couple of flaws, and people. It wasn't a good individual sport, because it was an individual sport how we had it, and the person we'd play for like a minute, and the person who spent the least amount of time on tag was the winner. But it was difficult to time because there were so many people running around, and if there's any disputes, then the whole game would kind of have to stop, and also people could gang up on certain athletes. It wasn't a fair game, you know. So we changed it to the one-on-one, 20-second chases, so we'd never released that footage because we wanted to try and drive home that one-on-one concept, and we just thought it would be confusing. So that's why we never released it in the end. We just didn't want to confuse what format we were using, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love this format. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and there was a lot about it as well. I like with the one-on-ones, it's a very clear idea of what's going on. You know, there's a very clear focus of attention, and you only need to watch it for about 3 seconds, then you realize, okay, he's chasing him. And apparently that's something that even animals, like animals, understand that concept. If we play tag in the garden, like our dog, it's called a fixed action pattern. That animals just know immediately, instinctively, they know, okay, he's chasing him. And if you play with our dog, if we say ready, go, he spent for the first seconds, he looks around, then he knows, he sees who's chasing who, and he chases. He helps you chase. It's really interesting. He'll work out immediately.
Rapid as well.
Yeah, but in his mind, he'll know immediately what's the game, what we're playing, and then as soon as it goes off, a second later, he knows, okay, we're chasing him, and he'll just go after that person. And apparently, that's something that even animals instinctively understand.
Just a couple of points that are coming up. In terms, like Travis said, would Stora be good if they came back with strategy? 100%. And I'm combining that with Richard's comment as well, that some of the bigger, like well-known athletes, they're doing other things or they're training for other competitions. So they might not want to dedicate the time that's necessary for chase tag, which is understandable. It's to like what you want to spend your time doing. But yeah, I think both those points are really important.
Cool. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining, and thank you to all the athletes. You can find their Instagrams in the description if you'd like to go check them out. The next match is out Friday. It is Hollywood Freerunners versus THC. It is a banger of a match, trust me. So, yeah, keep your eyes open for that, because it is really good. So, yeah, thank you guys for sticking with this live stream and listening to us. And, yeah, thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. See you guys. See ya.
Okay, cool.